our first ever TED Ed Club speaker, Hope Kostapis.
Hi. Okay, so I did my TED Talk on confidence and self-image. Oh, okay. I have it now. Okay, so there are days when I am hard on myself. Anyone else? We pick apart the pieces of ourselves that are imperfect, and the ones that are somewhat good aren't good enough. My laugh is weird, my nose is too big, I don't have cool clothes, I'm short, I'm tall, I'm thin, I'm fat, I'm this, I'm that. Why do we do this to ourselves? You guys probably did not know this about me, but when I was a little kid, I was very, very sick. I had eczema, asthma, and molluscum, and a bunch of things that made me different from the average 4-year-old girl. I had rashes up and down my arms. I couldn't breathe in dust in the air without damaging my lungs. I used to go out in 80-degree weather in long sleeve t-shirts just so people wouldn't see it, and all the stuff that I had all over me. It was really embarrassing. And even as a little kid, it just still got to me. And it was really, really hard. I mean, you were just stuck the same embarrassing way that you were everywhere you went. And it isn't fun for anyone at any age. So luckily, I found a doctor who healed me, and I'm standing here in front of you all today, happy and healthy, and I'm thankful for that. How many things do you like about yourself? Do you worry about the clothes you wear, the music you listen to? Why should you? You are you, and that's that. I decided to do my TED Talk on this topic because I feel like it is underrated and extremely important. So a little while ago, I was at a sleepover with a couple of my closest friends, and the topic came up on what you like about yourself. It was unreal how hard it was for some of us to come up with one thing. One thing. Why do we do this to ourselves and have this idea that we're not good enough? I mean, I don't understand it in a way where wait, okay.
Hi, I'm Autumn, and I'd like to share with you the truth about adoption. Now let's be honest. When you hear the word orphanage, adoption, or adoptee, I bet you feel pity, which means to feel sorry for someone who is suffering. Well, this is totally not what I'm going for, because here's a mind-blowing fact. Adoption is not a bad thing. It's actually 100% positive for both kids and parents, because children who don't have a home get one, and couples who want to start a family can do that. Okay, so people always tell me, those aren't your real parents. And I say, well, oops, are they fake? So I want to show you something. Can you see the difference between real and fake? Well, the thing is that for me, a real parent is someone who loves you and takes care of you and always has your back. You don't have to be biologically related to them to be part of their family. Oh, and my sister isn't fake either. And I don't live with strangers. You see, people always say, Autumn, are you used to living with strangers? And I always say that I don't live with strangers because I know my parents very well. I've lived with them for basically my whole life, and they don't wear those creepy masks. And they're definitely not strangers. And come on, we live in the 21st century. I think that families are made in all kinds of different ways, and that if we can all live on the same planet together, that means that if we can love and support one another, then anybody can be a family together, and no blood relation is necessary. So when I was about a year old, I was at the grocery store with my dad, and he was pushing me in the cart, and everything was fine. And it's really obvious that I'm adopted because I look so different from my parents. And so this old lady came walking up to my dad, and she looked at him, and she's like, "Where did you get her?" And my dad said, "Aisle 14. I think he was a little offended by the question. You see, if you want to ask a parent about their child's adoption agency, then you should feel free to do so. But just make sure that you're specific with your question. And there's one thing that I took away from this situation, and that is that if someone asks you a question that you don't particularly like or that annoys you, I think it's a good idea to deal with it with humor instead of anger. Speaking of questions, here are some things you should probably not say to an adopted kid. Like, for example, why did they give you up? Well, I don't know. And a lot of kids, like myself, don't know why we were given up. But some adoptees do know, but they might not want to share that information because it's pretty personal. Next, I feel sorry for you. I get this all the time. People are always telling me how sorry they are for me. Well, there's no need to feel sorry for me because I'm the same as any of you. I'm just as close to my parents as any biologically related kid would be, and there's no need to feel sorry for me. But some adoptees do feel sad about their adoption, and there's nothing wrong with that, but saying you feel sorry for them might make them feel worse. Next, where are your real parents? Remember these guys? My parents are real. Remember, no fake parents. Oh, I forgot to say, no such thing as fake parents. I don't know if I already said this actually, but I doubt that any of your parents were made with any kind of synthetic material. So there's no such thing as fake parents. So that means that my parents are real, and they're probably around town somewhere. And do you ever wish you weren't adopted? Well, no, I never have wished that I wasn't adopted because nothing bad ever came of it, and I'm fine with it. But some kids might feel funny about being adopted, so asking them if they wish they weren't might make them feel like they weren't. So that's probably not a good idea because they can't change that. And my dream is for people to see adoption in a positive light because it helps children find their forever families and brings people happiness. When I was little, I loved this picture book called Little Miss Spider by David Kirk, and on the last page it says, "For finding your mother, there's one certain test. You must look for the creature who loves you the best." I love this because it's true. Your mother, your parents, your family are people that love you the best. And if you weren't biologically related to them, that wouldn't change a thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So, have you ever seen a piece of graffiti art? Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. Maybe you have, but you didn't really take the time to look at it, or maybe you just you didn't really recognize it as graffiti art. And a lot of people are unaware that graffiti can actually be an art. A lot of people are only familiar with graffiti vandalism. And I think this is a problem. And I want to really show you guys that graffiti can be more than just vandalism. And I really want to show you what graffiti art really is, because a lot of people think they have an idea of what it is, but they really don't know what it is. My dad owns a website, bouldergraffiti.com, pretty simple, and it's a website that has pictures of his graffiti art all around Boulder, and there's hundreds and hundreds of pictures on it. Graffiti art is everywhere, just people don't recognize it. And really, if you know where to look for it and you recognize it when you see it, you will see graffiti art every day. Well, not every day, a lot more. And it's really surprising. When I learned about graffiti art, I saw a lot more around Boulder. If you want to check it out, that'd be great. It's really cool. It has a ton of pictures. In my opinion, there are 3 types of legitimate graffiti styles. There is actually, my friend actually told me there was a 4th one, which I won't get to today, but you can do some research on the subject. The first one being stencil. So a stencil is basically an art piece where you take a piece of paper or something you've drawn on, and imagine you cut out the pieces, cut out what you want to show up on your drawing, like a snowflake, like a paper snowflake. And you take that and you put it up against your canvas and spray paint over it. And where the gaps are, the paint will show up. And as you can see, people can do a ton of stuff with this. It's a really cool type of graffiti art. The second type is called wild style. Wild style is basically where you take a word, a few letters, a series of letters, words, whatever, and you rearrange it, you alter it, and turn it into this really cool pattern, and it looks really amazing. And let me tell you, this style takes so long to perfect, or to even get close to perfecting, or get close to actually having anything look remotely close to this. I've tried. It's taken me 2 years to get anything that kind of looks like this. It's hard. These people practice every day, probably at their own personal graffiti wall for hours, every day, for maybe 10 years to have anything look like this. That is accurate. The third type I want to bring up is called mural. A mural is basically where you take, paint, and you paint kind of a scene. And, it always has some kind of expression of the artist. It has some kind of meaning, and it's really, really cool. Okay. Ooh. This is a video, you can play it, of my art, just a simple piece, but I wanted to really show you the process. Oops. It's not going to work. Okay. That would have showed you the process, but you can look up a video. It's really cool how people make art with spray cans. Okay, getting hang of this. So, wait a second. Slide's gone. So there are basically 4 types. There are 4 elements of a good graffiti piece. One being that the artist obviously has to be skilled. The second one being weird. The second one being they have to have a great idea. This is the most important part of the graffiti piece. If there's no good idea, it doesn't matter how talented the artist is. You really need a good idea. Second, you need a plan. You really need to plan it out. It takes a long time to plan, but it is necessary. And you need the proper materials. Now, a lot of people, they have a lot of good skills, but they don't want to go out and paint illegally. And a lot of people just want to paint, but they don't want to worry about, the legal problems. And if you want to go somewhere, you can go to a public graffiti wall to, spray your work, and it's completely legal. It's a wall built just for graffiti, and people of all levels can go and try it out. And obviously, a lot of people will see it because this is behind Scott Carpenter Park, and I drive by it a lot, and I see a ton of pieces, and it's a great way to show your work. Now, before you really judge graffiti art, you have to really do some research, watch a documentary or 2 on the subject, so you actually have an idea of what it really is. It's not just vandalism. It's beautiful. It's very interesting. It's very, very cool. It truly is an art. Thank you.
Nice job. That was awesome.
Hi. How many of you guys know who Justin Bieber is? How many of you guys like Justin Bieber? Well, I don't like Justin Bieber either. But I love him. I love him. And I'm not just any kind of fan. I'm a believer. A believer is someone who has a room filled with Justin Bieber. And you constantly get this question asked by your friends. Aren't you scared to sleep at night? You have all these posters just staring at you. And you're just like, excuse me? No, I feel like I'm in heaven. Also, your brain is filled with Justin Bieber knowledge. Like, when your friend says, do you know where Justin Bieber is now? And you're just like, yeah, he's in LA preparing for the Believe premiere. And they're just like, my God. Also, when your teacher says you could write about anything, first thing that pops up is Justin Bieber. Also, believers get something called Bieber fever. Bieber fever is when you start crying, get emotional, start rolling on the floor. You would do anything to get Justin Bieber to notice you. And it's just emotional sometimes. And there are 3 types of believers. There's the crazy ones, the emotional ones, and the perverted ones. I'm part of the emotional ones. I tend to get emotional when I see anything Justin Bieber related. Just like anything. If I see a picture that was like 3 months ago, I'll just be like, he's so old now, and just start getting emotional. But being a believer isn't easy. Why? Because you have to deal with people judging you. It's just like, why do you care if I like Justin Bieber? And like your parents. Your parents are always like, oh my gosh, Erica, stop obsessing over Justin Bieber. You're never gonna get to marry him. And you're just like, Mom, please. You had a huge obsession with my dad, and no one ever told you anything. Awesome. Also, you have to deal with your parents saying no to Justin Bieber merchandise. They're just like, no, you already have too many Justin Bieber stuff. And you're just like, but I don't have this one. And they're just like, They're like, And let's just say you're in the middle of Target, and you start crying like Kim Kardashian. Also, being a believer, you have to deal with other fandoms, like the Directioners. They think they're so much better than us, but when really, we're the kings of the fandoms. And with them on Twitter, it's a war, like an actual war. We're always fighting about who's better at singing, but of course, Justin Bieber always wins, because us believers are strong at fighting. But as believers and Directioners, we have to say that we're the same thing. We're both fan bases with bit different names. We just have to get along with each other like One Direction does with Justin Bieber. But anyways, I've been a believer since 2009, since his one-time video on YouTube. It was just like, that what attached me. What like got me was his looks. His hair flip, his smile, his nose, his laugh, and his teeth. Everything was just perfect. It was like dream boy there. And then his My World album came out, and I ended up buying it. And I fell in love with it, just like in love with it. And my favorite song from it was Love Me. I just remember just repeating that song over and over, getting my parents annoyed with it. Like, it's just too much, you know. And from there, I ended up buying all his CDs, just like all of them. And I'm also gonna buy the one on Monday coming up, probably even miss school just to get. But many of you guys are probably just like, why do you like Justin Bieber if he's been a bad boy ever since? But he's human. He's not a machine on batteries. He's going to make mistakes. He's not perfect. He's just like all of us. Like, example, Justin Bieber smoked weed. That went viral. But he built a school for kids in Guatemala. That didn't go viral. Another example, he supposedly spit on a fan's face, which is not true. I did my research. But he spent his time with a little girl named Amalana. She passed away last year of brain cancer. Justin Bieber spent her last 3 months with her, and like she made her feel like special. Also, Justin Bieber has a lot of haters, just like a lot. But haters don't get Justin Bieber down. I mean, he is the most followed person on Twitter with 47.1 million followers. And he won the Diamond Award, which only good artists get, like Mariah Carey and Michael Jackson. And like they had their career within like 10 years. Justin Bieber has only been in his career for 4 years. And he already got the Diamond Award. Also, he has the best fan base in the world. Even though we get into his personal life, he still loves us. And he is a 19-year-old billionaire. He also has thousands of girls that want him. They're just like, be my boyfriend. I want to have my family with you. And it's just like, I want you, you know? But I guess I know why you guys are jealous of him. You know, like most like teenage boys, they want like all those girls chasing after them, but they don't get the girls chasing after them because Justin Bieber already has. But Justin Bieber, I'm not just here with Justin Bieber because of his looks, his music, and his good heart. I'm also here because he's taught me to never give up on my dreams. He went from singing in the front of the Avon Theater just because he wanted to sing. Like, he didn't have enough money for singing lessons, but he knew how he wanted music to sound. All he had was a staircase, a guitar, and a dream to get known and become famous. He started posting videos on YouTube for fun so his family could see them. And then he never expected to get discovered, but it happened. And from there, he's known all around the world as being a good boy or a bad boy or your husband. And he's performed in front of 1 billion people, like just 1 billion. And he showed me to like always like go after my dream. So my dream one day is to be his one less only girl. The one less only girl is when like they just pick you out randomly, just randomly out of the crowd. It doesn't matter where you're sitting. You could be sitting in the balcony and still get chosen. Like they choose you, they ask you, do you want to be the one less only girl? You either say yes or yes. And they take you up and they put you on the chair, and Justin Bieber makes you feel special. He touches your face, he puts a crown on you, and he sings to you, and you cry, and he hugs you. And like, I just want that feeling, you know? I want that feeling of like feeling loved by Justin Bieber. So I believe one day I will be his one less only girl, even though if it takes 10 years, I will still be his one less only girl. So being a believer isn't just a thing. It's more like a passion. And also, parents in here, if your child loves Justin Bieber, and they ask for a Justin Bieber magazine or a shirt, get it for them. Don't torture them. They have enough with school already. Thank you.
Have any of you ever procrastinated? I thought so. Every single person in this auditorium has procrastinated before. I admit it. I may have even procrastinated to write this a little bit. But the question is, can you really get it done? Most of us think we can, but then something comes up and you just forget about it. Sooner or later, the project or whatever it is will be due and you will be behind. Being behind is not good. It all builds up and it gets to the point where it's harder it's harder to get back ahead instead of just staying on top in the first place. It can become so much that even if you manage your time as best you can't get it done. Nowadays, entertainment is so great. With the technology we have, it's so easy to get distracted from getting things done. Some of the things you can do is more interesting and fun than working. But think, if you use your precious time to do that, will you have enough time to get everything else done? There are rewards to getting things done early too. Not just a good job or a good grade from your parent, or a good grade or a good job from your parents. You get a feeling of accomplishment. A weight of stress is lifted off your back, and now you can do whatever you want, knowing you won't have to stay up late to do homework or work. And next time you're up late with unfinished work, this will make you think and hopefully make a more productive decision. Thank you, everyone. All right.
Nice job. All right. We're doing a little technical thing right now, so we're just going to talk. What's the number one thing when you procrastinate that you do?
Netflix is really a fun thing.
Right? You lose track of time?
Yeah.
Facebook for me. You get in and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's 5 minutes, and then it's like an hour and a half later.
Yeah.
That one's really tough, too. And then how do you get yourself back on task?
It's hard. Usually I try to leave my phone in a different room or a device, so I'm not tempted to look at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But,
Awesome. All right, good job. Thanks, Jeff.
all right. Thank you.
Hello. So I'm going to talk about an experience that... Sorry. An experience that my family and I had in 2010 near our house, or at our house in Netherland, near Netherland in the mountains. We have a cabin that has a backyard, I guess you could say, to a forest, which I think is really cool. And one day when we got there, we looked around to observe and see what we saw. And this is what we saw. We saw a nest, and I was psyched. I was like, awesome. And then my parents are like, wait, could it be a pack rat nest? Because of course, when we first saw it, the bird had flown away because it got scared. We don't know. We didn't see the bird there. But in fact, when we took a close look, there we saw 3 pink and dull whitish eggs, and I was so excited. It was like awesome because I've never seen this before. So it was really cool. We pretty much the whole summer of 2010, we observed these birds. We saw them hatch, and these were the first hatched chicks. They were, I think, kind of cute. You could only see their down feathers, which was really interesting. And another thing that we noticed, which was really interesting, was that when we put our hand or our camera over the chicks, they would squeak and squeal and move. But as they grew older, they didn't do that, which was really interesting. They understood that we might be predators and that if they moved, it might be the end. So they didn't move when we put the camera or hand over it anymore. The parents also fed the chicks at an almost constant rate. We noticed it was about half-hour intervals, which was really interesting because it was almost exactly half an hour. We spent all the day outside looking at these birds, but really we could have gone out every half an hour and seen them. We took pictures, and I also took some videos, which was really cool and a cool experience. This is what I call the teenage years, I guess, because they would move out of the nest a couple inches, spread their wings, flap their wings, go back into the nest, and cuddle up to be ready for when the parents went to feed them. When they jumped out of the nest, it was really fun because it wasn't just seeing them right there. We actually had to look for them. We would hear the mother calling to the chick. The sound is a metallic, high-pitched noise. And we would hear the chicks call back. We would find the chick, and then shortly afterwards, the mom would come feed the chicks. But as you can see in this picture, you can barely tell it's a bird. Even if you squint your eyes a little bit, it's part of the tree. And this is very useful for predators because, or for the birds against predators, because if bear or a mountain lion, which have very bad eyesight, well, they aren't going to see it. This one, it's a little bit more obvious, but it still looks like a pine cone. What really scared me was that sometimes when they were on the floor, because sometimes they were on branches, but when they were on the floor, we would be walking, right? All of a sudden, we would go like this, see the bird, and we would be like, oh, and step back because we almost stepped on them several times. The parents, we also noticed, would feed them different things, including berries, worms, and even dragonflies, which was really interesting. um, this interaction between the chick and the parent also gave my mom and I the idea to write a book. We were at our house in the mountains. We were downloading the pictures into our computer. We had no Wi-Fi. So we said, well, what better thing to do to pass time? And that's what we did. I would be the chick and I would say, hey mom, could you bring me my favorite worm next time? And my mom would say, yeah, totally, but if I can't, can I bring you a berry instead? This was all in Spanish. So my mom and I wrote this book. It's called A Forest Family, Una Familia del Bosque. It's bilingual, and this has our pictures of like feeding, of everything. So now we're hoping to get it published soon, but we don't know exactly how soon, because this happened in 2010, now it's 2013, we're starting to lose hopes, but someday. Thank you.
So with my whole family, we went from the Netherlands to Colorado for half a year, and I learned a lot here in Colorado. And one of the things I learned is that American people are rightfully proud of their country. But now I'm gonna take you for a quick trip to that strange little country in Europe where you probably never heard of actually is. Because some people did hear about it, but I don't think about those real Dutch things. So, raise your hand if you have ever heard about the Netherlands. Wow, that are a lot of people, but I don't mean that little city in the mountains. To be true, the Netherlands doesn't have mountains. Oh, you mean Holland. Holland is just 2 of the 12 countries of the Netherlands. So no, I also don't mean Holland. You still think you heard about the Netherlands? Okay, maybe you did hear about it, or you visited it. Of course you know about the Netherlands then. You know about the windmills, the wooden shoes, the flower bulbs, and maybe about the Anne Frank house. Then you know the Netherlands, right? No, not really. Okay, I give up. It doesn't matter. Hey, giving up, that brings me to my first point. Dutch people will never give up. So I talked a lot about what is not Dutch. Is there something left to truly be Dutch? Okay, trust me, there's more than enough left. To begin with the flowers. But you just said that's not really Dutch. Okay, to make it clear, the Netherlands really are in the flower business, but I'm talking about business now, not about tourists with big cameras in spring. What also brings money in, by the way. But what I wanted to talk about was the flower export and trade. In the Netherlands, we grow a lot of flowers and we export them, but we're also big in the flower trade. So there's a big chance that the flowers in your living room had ever been in the Netherlands, or maybe are Dutch flowers. Dutch art, that's something I'm really proud of. The 2 most important painters, I think, are Vincent van Gogh and Rembrandt van Rijn. You probably heard of them. And Dutch sport. This little country is every year with the Olympics on about place 13 worldwide. That's for how small it is, really good. The things we're best in are gymnastics, swimming, and ice skating. But we're also good out of the Olympics. Our soccer, Dutch soccer, is on place 2 worldwide. For those who are not really in soccer, that's better than America. And our field hockey women team is on place 1 worldwide. For those who learn to count, place 1 is the highest place. So that's also above America. Sure, we also have our black pages in history. And we also have things that not everyone is happy with. But we can't just say, oh, then we make a new state with different laws. We're 1/6 of Colorado and we have about 6 times as many people as in Colorado. So that won't work. We have to stay together and talk until we have a solution. We are a democracy, a talking democracy. There's another reason why we're a talking democracy. We, in the Netherlands, we have a lot of water. If we wouldn't have dikes and dunes, there wouldn't be much left of our land. It would look like this. And with so many people, that won't work. So you can have many problems with your next door neighbor. But you live next to the same dike, and you have to protect your houses against the water. Because if you don't do that, then your houses will be gone. Okay, so this is our king, King Willem-Alexander. In the Netherlands, the king is not the head of the country or the government, so he doesn't really have a vote, but he's just there for every single Dutch person. Because the king is not the head of our country, we have the minister-president. And don't think that's something like the president in America, because it's totally different. But he's the head of our government, and next to him we also have the rest of the government. But that's too different to explain now. In the Netherlands, we have a lot of Dutch food. But I think the most common one is the Dutch cheese. It's much softer than American cheese, and I can't live without it. We have 2 cheese recipes. One for old cheese and one for young cheese. So, as I already told you, I learned in Colorado that people here in America are rightfully proud of their country. And I hope you learn now that I'm rightfully proud of my country. Now I'm going to show you the Dutch anthem, but before I do that, I give you a personal invitation to come to the Netherlands for a visit, because I already showed you, it's just fantastic.
Hello. The mic does not seem to be on. Okay. So, I'd like to talk with you guys today about discrimination, or judging a book by its cover, if you will. So, discrimination can come in many shapes and forms. So, just because you don't like a certain thing does not mean you don't discriminate against something else. So, I wish I could say that I wasn't discriminatory against anything, but that would be a lie. So, the words that I most hear as discriminatory insults these days are gay, black, and fat. And these are not bad things, and the only reason that we say them as if they are insults is because they are an immediate option that comes into our head automatically. So, I don't really care if people are tall, short, skinny, fat, ugly, beautiful, black, white, strong, weak, popular, unpopular, gay, or straight. I might discriminate against them, but I do not mean bad things towards them. So, no one is more or less important than anyone else in the world. We are equals. So, no matter your situation, you can cry yourself to sleep at night and you are no more or less important to anyone else. And you can be the one girl in the school who gets all the guys, and you're out shopping while the little boy in the wheelchair is crying in his room, and you are no more or less important than him. So, The bullies, the victims, the rich, and the poor should always have equal opportunities in life. And if hate runs the world, no one will ever be happy. Racism. Racism is taught. No one is ever born or ever has been born racist. But every racist comment you ever hear is like burned into your mind. So that makes you the tiniest bit more racist every time someone says one of those comments. But if you refuse to learn these things about, Okay, so if you refuse to learn these things about racism, racism can become extinct. Body size. Another convenient thing to tease people about. But again, it's just an immediate thing to say. So next time you're about to judge someone based on their weight or something like that, think again, because you may be teaching the people around you how to be discriminatory against someone else. And last but not least, gay or straight, so sexual orientation. I know plenty of gay people, and by my standards, gay is not an insult. So, saying, oh, that's so gay, is just another way of hating on something that is neither homosexual or happy. So, and no one likes a hater anyway. So think before you speak, and never, ever judge a book by its cover. Thank you.
I'm Connor, and I will be talking with you today. And I will be talking with you today about kendamas. Many of you probably don't know what a kendama is. This is a kendama. Thank you. Just kidding. A kendama is a traditional Japanese toy that arrived in Japan around the year of 1777. Back then, kendamas were made to teach focus and concentration to young boys so they could learn to hunt. Kendamas are still quite popular in Japan. Today in Japan, you'd probably get your first kendama in gym class around the age of 7. The kendama consists of 2 different sized cups on either side of a wooden spike. There is also a smaller cup at the base of the wooden spike. There's a string attaching a wooden ball, and in the wooden ball there's a small hole so it may rest on top of the spike. To play with a kendama, you must swing the ball up to be caught on either a cup or land on the spike. More advanced tricks involve sequential balances, juggles, catches, and all different types of cool stuff. There are tens of thousands of different tricks you can do on a kendama, and so many of them have not even been discovered yet. There are kendama competitions that take place, mostly in Japan. There are 2 types of competitions. The first one is a head-to-head competition where basically you would play horse with another opponent. So if you miss a trick, you get a letter, and once you have enough letters to make up the word kendama, you're out, and the other person wins. The second type, it involves more people, and you would complete a list of tricks over and over, and if you fail, you're out, and the last one standing wins. Kendamas also help with focus and concentration. This can help with athletics, schoolwork, and just everyday activities. Kendamas are awesome. I love my kendama. I use my kendama a lot. But sometimes they can be pretty frustrating when you can't get a trick. And when I can't get a trick, I get angry. So this one time, I was at my house trying to get this trick called earth turn. It's where the ball is sitting on the spike. You throw the ball up, does one flip or rotation, and lands back on the spike. So I was trying to get this at my house, and I was practicing, and I could not get it. And I could not get it, and my mom called me in to unload the dishwasher. And I get to the kitchen, and I fling the ball up, and it just completely misses the spike. And it lands on this nice ceramic plate my mom likes. And the ball's pretty heavy, so the plate just shatters. And she's angry. She's so angry that she takes my kendama away. Then I'm angry. But luckily the next day, she gives my kendama back, and I practice hard, practice more, finally get the trick earth turn. And the feeling was just so amazing, and it was all worth it, even getting my mom angry. But overall, kendamas are just amazing. And the kendamas mean never giving up and learning that practice makes the impossible possible. It gives you means to increase focus, concentration, and hand-eye coordination, creating self-confidence. This self-confidence can be applied to any other difficult task in life. Kendamas can never be fully mastered, leaving the possibilities open for constant self-improvement. Thank you.
Competitive dance. Think about those two words for a second. What do they mean to you? What is the true story behind the sequins, fake eyelashes, and hairspray of the competitive dance world? That's what I'm here to tell you about today. And Boulder needs that kind of education. Most Boulderites don't know what competitive dance is. And when you don't know what something is, you tend to be scared of it. But I can't blame you. I recently found out just how few competitive dance studios there are in the city of Boulder compared to other cities in this state. For example, Denver has 11 competitive dance studios, while Broomfield has 7, and Boulder only has 1. No wonder we're scared of competitive dance. It's a foreign concept. Speaking of concepts, what's the concept behind competitive dance? Well, first of all, there's companies that put on competitions. They travel all around the United States to 10 to 20 different cities putting on these competitions. But what's a competition? Well, first of all, we have our stage, where each performance will be given. Then, underneath, we have our judges' tables, where 3 to 6 judges will be seated. They will be scoring you on choreography, costume, performance, and technique. Each piece that comes on stage will have a size. It could be a solo, duo, trio, small group, large group, medium group, or production piece. Each piece will also have a style. This style could be contemporary, lyrical, hip-hop, ballet, acro, or jazz. At the end of the night, there's an award ceremony where each piece will be given an award based on how their judges' feedback added up. They might get a silver, bronze, gold, high gold, or platinum award. All right, but who does this? Well, that's what I'm going to tell you next. Who are competitive dancers? But in order to do that, I must tell you who we are not, just to clear up any misconceptions out there. First of all, we're not pageant girls. I've been asked this before. Next, we're not poms or cheerleaders. I have many friends who do poms and cheer, and they go to their separate competitions and usually perform at sporting events. Lastly, we're not girls with crazy moms. I've met the producer of Dance Moms, and he assured me that sure, they may go to competitions just like you, and sure, they may practice just like you, but the show is scripted. It's solely for our entertainment. All right, so this summer I was at Streetside Dance Studio taking a hip-hop intensive, and everyone in the intensive was in the front studio. We were all practicing the opening to the performance piece. The choreography to the piece was simple and cheesy, so that everyone at the camp, even the little kids, could perform it together. I was standing with my 3 friends that I had brought in from the competitive dance world, and we were standing behind 2 student instructors. We were in the middle of practicing the piece when one of the instructors turns to the other and goes, "I feel like a competitive dance girl doing this cheesy choreography." I immediately turned to them and said, "You mean like me?" They just stood there for a second, thinking about what I had just said. And then the apologies started. "No, I'm so sorry. No, I didn't mean that. You guys are great dancers." My friends and I just stood there, thinking, "No, we knew exactly what you meant." And then my friend Fatu, who's 9 and probably the funniest little girl alive, turns to them and goes, "Next time, just don't talk about what you don't know about." And we walked away. All right, more importantly, who are competitive dancers? Well, we're artists and we are athletes. Dance is an art that we use to express emotion or tell a story for ourselves and the audience. And dancers are athletes, pushing ourselves beyond our boundaries, striving for perfection. As well as there's many benefits to dance and competitive dance. First of all, to be a competitive dancer, you have to be strong and have total control of your movement. Therefore, dance keeps you fit. Everything from your lats to your core to your ankles has to be at its strongest. Dance teaches you confidence. You have to be able to walk on stage and not care about what the judges, what your teachers, what your instructors, what your friends think of you. So in that moment, we are trained to love who we are and what we spend our time doing. Also, dance teaches you teamwork. A piece can't walk on stage and look like 12 different solos. It has to look like 12 people moving as one unit. Therefore, we learn to be conscious of ourselves and other people around us. Lastly, scientists have found that dance makes you smart. They did an experiment where they tested many different activities, such as dance, Sudoku, swimming, biking, running, and yoga. They found that dance was the one that helped with your cognitive skills the most, meaning dance helps with bringing down stress levels, slowing down aging of the brain, and memorization. All in all, I hope that next time someone tells you they're a competitive dancer, you'll have a fuller understanding of who they are and what they spend their time doing. Thank you.
So, as you heard, I'm doing mine on dyslexia. And with the normal mind, it's more balanced out with in between the reading and writing and imaginative part of the brain. But with dyslexia, there isn't as much or even none with the reading and writing, but there's a bunch with the imaginative part of the brain. What it's like with dyslexia is your brain is already full of different things because you're already saying you're already thinking of different things other than reading and writing. Like, what am I going to do next week? What am I going to do here? Stuff like that. But and everybody's trying to fill your head with these new things, and it's just harder with reading and writing because they're trying to fill your head with things. I am one of the few people in the world who have dyslexia. It's sort of common with low cases, like you mess up M's and W's and B's and N's, or B's and D's. As you could tell in the dyslexic person they're showing here, all his M's and W's and D's and B's are all mixed up, but all the others are normal. And his words are backwards, but their words aren't. These are some famous people with dyslexia. Albert Einstein, one of the smartest people on this planet, had dyslexia. This is what it's like with dyslexia. Your words will jumble around the page, they'll move around and stuff. These are more famous people with dyslexia. This is another model of what it's like with dyslexia. The common brain is all over, but dyslexic is all concentrated in a certain area, and there's less glowing. In my old school, I was teased about this dyslexia almost every day, walking down the halls every time. In this school, it's been a lot better because the kids will help me with it instead of tease me about it. Teachers aren't teaching me the whole A-E-I-O-U thing because I already know that. It's the actual part of reading, the words jumbling together. And that's mine.
All right. Over the last decade, snowboard competitions have evolved from one flip being called insane to 3 flips being the norm. From a very young age, I have been very fascinated by extreme sports. I have attended every X Games since the time I was 8 years old, and I've seen some pretty amazing things over the years. I myself have done some pretty crazy stunts that include building a 30-foot rope swing in my friend's backyard, jumping over my friend Elliot on a skateboard, yes, that's me, and going over 50 miles per hour on a dirt bike. The mind of an extreme sports athlete is like none other. He moves through life seeing everything from a different perspective. Like when I see a rail or a jump or some water around town, I get the itch to get my snowboard or my skateboard and build a homemade thrill ride. This all started off in the 1960s with a man named Stein Erikson. He was the one and only winter sports extreme athlete of his day. He traveled around the world performing his death-defying stunt of doing a backflip on skis. The things that really drive extreme sports are fans, competitors, technology, and brands. An example of brands are Red Bull. Red Bull brands itself as an extreme sports drink. Today, Red Bull has made over $5 billion off this. Let's see. And this is growing every day. Competitors like Shaun White and Travis Pastrana really make this their products are really popular because the kids see them and they idolize them. Without the pioneers like Jake Burton over here, who invented Burton snowboards, and Nick Woodman, who invented GoPro, we wouldn't have made it as far as we have today. But the question is, how far can it really go? This past year, Caleb Moore was doing a backflip on a snowmobile in X Games. He died crashing in competition. He actually died the day later in the hospital. Another example of this is Sarah Burke. She was a professional free skier. She tragically died in a training accident in Utah. So, one of the most amazing things is the evolution. In 2001, the winning trick for snowboarding big air was a 900. This year, it was a triple cork 1440, which is 3 off-axis backflips. And here's a video. Oh, wait, go back. Yeah. Go for it. This is Torstein Horgmo. He's a professional snowboarder from Norway. As he takes off, he does 3 off-axis backflips and lands. It was one of the most amazing events in X Games history. One of the coolest things about extreme sports is that age really doesn't matter. One example of this is 12-year-old Tom Shaw. He is the first person in history to land a 1080. He's better than Tony Hawk, and he's only in 7th grade. Oh. There we go. It looks like he duct taped his shoes to his board, but it's actually because his shoes fell apart in competition. And so he duct taped his shoe back together. That's the first time he ever landed it in competition. So, will extreme sports continue their rapid progression with things like hoverboards and jetpacks? Or will they stop their progression because of extreme danger and impossibility? So, whether you're inventing the future or doing a triple backflip on a snowboard, I want you to go out there and push yourself to the extreme. Thank you.
Hi, today I'm going to talk to you guys about limiting learning. So why is people's amount of knowledge so similar to others? Wait, I forgot something.
I just
Okay, so my cousin and I were chatting, and then we got into the serious kind of conversation, and then she told me not to compare myself to anyone, and I was really confused because I thought learning from others and looking at them as a good example is a really good thing. But then she explained to me that don't let others' capacity be mine, and then that I need to see how much I can do without anyone's limit. So I thought people determine their capacity of learning by comparing themselves to others. So when they reach that particular person's level, they stop learning now that they have a reason not to work. Oops, okay. I thought people say, I know enough, and I know as much as she or he does, so I don't have to do anything. But what they don't realize is that that word, enough, is building a wall against you that will let you learn more, and then a wall against you that won't let you go beyond someone else's limit. So comparing created laziness and impatience in the world. People say they're too lazy to learn new things and too impatient to work hard for their dream when they know that they can do it. I know that they don't really mean it, but it's not something to say it easily like that either. So why can you not see the bright and intelligent future that we can have? But as soon as you stop comparing yourself to others, you would do more and more, craving to see how much you can do since there is no ready answer for you. There's always a time where you don't want to work. So we start looking for the easiest way to do something, and then we start looking for answers from others. So comparing is cheating since you are using someone else's limit as an answer. But unfortunately, that ready answer will not work for you. No one's answer is going to work for something that you want to do. So don't search from others, search from yourself. Believe you can do this by yourself. Without any answer, believe you can accomplish so much more. Because there's always going to be something that you can do or learn. Have one thing that you really want to do with your life. Have one goal or dream you really want to achieve that you are confident that you can do it by yourself without anyone's limit or answer. If you really want it, there should be no limit because limit is one kind of an excuse. If you want to accomplish something, no matter what it is, the first step will always be to give it a try, so at least try. You can dream what you want and do something important with your life, but you can also decide not to work hard and not to accomplish as much as you can. What I mean is that every step you take will either bring you one step closer or farther to your dream. Remember that the step ahead of you is always clear when you can't see a few steps ahead of you or the whole outcome. As long as you don't look for limits from others as an excuse of you don't wanting to work, you are capable of everything. There will always be a room for you to learn something new. There will always be something that can bring you one step closer to your dream or goal. Oh, wait, sorry. Don't make other people determine your capacity of learning. Let it be you. Don't ever let people stop you from learning more, because there will always be something that you can learn. Just look around. Thank you.
Good job. That was awesome.
Hello. Hi. Hi. So tonight I'm going to be talking about haters.
So the definition of haters on the Urban Dictionary online is defined as a person who simply cannot be happy for another person's success. So rather than be happy, they make a point of exposing a flaw in that person. So they're everywhere. The fact that you're unique and different irritates them, and they just have to comment, you know? So let me tell you a story about how people have been hating on me. In grade school, in Virginia, they used to laugh at my Japanese-style lunch my mom used to make me. In the Netherlands, they used to call me a Jap and a whale killer. Whale killer? I've never killed a whale before. I love whales. You know, why? And finally, a group of big kids came up to me and do them all a favor and kill your mixed breed Jap self. So, and I realized that we all actually have a bit of hate in our hearts. You, and me. So, for example, when was the last time your friend got a new iPhone and you smiled and said, haha, that's great, while inside you were thinking, you don't even deserve that? Or how about when you saw some kid try to do a skate trick and he couldn't land it and you thought to yourself, haha, what a noob. But you see, the only difference between the kid who was laughing at my lunch and me was that they were hating out loud and I was hating inside. And the reason they had to do this was because they needed me to feel bad for them to feel good. So, I've come to the conclusion that haters are either jealous because they don't have it, sour because they can't do it, mad because they don't understand it, or jaded because they gave up a long time ago and you haven't. So, for all of you with hate in your hearts, learn to get over it. Don't let your hate see the light of day. And as they say, don't hate the player, hate the game. Give them a break. So I failed that test because I was tired. You failed because you're stupid. I fell off my board because I hit a bump. You fell off because you suck. See, if we know that this bias exists in our minds, we can start to deal with it and give our fellow man more of an understanding. So, for all of you who are getting hated on, feel sorry for the hater. And don't let them steal your joy. You can simply do this by not reacting. Ignore the pointing finger, the snide laugh. It'll die right there on the spot. You'll deprive the oxygen it needs, and it will crawl back into the hater's small heart. So it's kind of the opposite of paying it forward, which is spreading out random acts of kindness. Throw it backwards. Throw hate. If we do this, would haters stop hating? I think so. I know so. So I call on all of you tonight to ignore hate. And if we all do this, we can eradicate hate, eradicate hate, eradicate hate, eradicate hate. Okay, all right, that's enough. Thank you for chanting with me. Wait. And finally, for all of you out loud in your face haters, get a life. And get your own sushi, because you ain't getting any of mine.
My name is Anaya Digano, and I'm here to talk to you about inner strength. One day, I was sitting down in class, and they gave us a regular prompt, and it was, what do you wonder about? At that time, I didn't really want to talk about anything because I was sad, because my best friend was mad at me. But then I started thinking, well, she's not going to bring me down, so then I'm going to start writing about stuff. And then I thought, why is there so many bad people in this earth? This earth is so beautiful with so many bad people in it.
people who murder, people who steal, people who do so many bad stuff just to mess up a person who didn't do anything to them. Happiness is one thing that a lot of people think they don't have. Everyone should have happiness. No matter if they're mean, no matter if anything, they should be happy. You could listen to those 7 steps of happiness if you don't want to. You don't have to. But everything matters because you need happiness in your life. The word I hate you. I don't think anyone here, even if you guys are older than me, don't know this meaning of I hate you. This word has so much meaning to it. And you say, oh, I wouldn't kill anybody, when you know that that word could mean you want to kill somebody. And that word is so bad, and nobody knows the real meaning of it. And you get mad at someone, and you say you hate them when you love them, like when you get mad at your parents, your boyfriend, your husband, your kids. Oh, I hate them. When you don't. You know, right deep inside of your heart, you love them with all your heart. Your friends. So you think your friends have always been there since you were little, or you just met them and you feel like you could tell them anything in this world, like anything, but in reality, sometimes this happens, not always. But as soon as you turn around, they're talking about you, and you think to yourself, why are they doing this? Why are they talking about me when they said they were my friends, and they would never do that? Family. Your family is the person, you just think about it, and think about it hard since you were born. They have been the people that have been there for the rest of your life, and you don't realize it until something happens to you. You should know right now that your family is always going to be there for you through thick and thin. Love yourself. You should love yourself no matter what, because you will have been the person that's always been there for yourself. When you were crying in that corner, when you were smiling, anything, because you love yourself, and I think you should always love yourself. My takeaway message is to love yourself no matter what people say, because you should be yourself, not what others say.
Don't you think it's a little odd that we are sitting, Don't you think it's a little odd when budget cuts are being made all around the school district, yet we are sitting here today in almost a brand new auditorium? The truth is, in 2008, 2 middle school students stole nuclear material from Rocky Flats and hid it in the old Casey building. Rather than alert the community, Boulder County decided to tear down the building and redo it. Conspiracy theories. An explanatory proposition that accuses 2 or more people, a group or an organization, of having caused or covered up, through deliberate collusion, an event or phenomenon of great social, political, or economic impact. So, in simpler terms, conspiracy theories are used to make sense of an event that has happened. Hi, my name is Ethan Katz, and I'm going to talk to you about conspiracy theories. There are many conspiracy theories. The first one I'm going to talk to you about is the 9/11 cover-up. Some people believe the government executed this act of terror. They believe the government did this to go to war with Iraq and get oil. The reasoning is that NORAD supposedly scrambled the fighter jets and let the hijacked airplanes reach their destination on 9/11. And NORAD's failure to intercept the planes is what started this theory. The next one I'm going to talk about is the moon landing hoax. Some people believe we never went to the moon. They believe it was all fake, all the evidence, everything. The most well-known claim is the 6-man landings from 1969 to 1972 never happened, and the 12 Apollo astronauts never set foot on the moon. So in a video I'm going to show you in a second, you're going to see the American flag wave a little on the moon without the astronaut making contact with the flag. So raise your hand if you think that's strange or peculiar. Those of you that raise your hands are correct. On the moon, there is no air or atmosphere. So theoretically, it would not be possible for the flag to wave without the astronaut making contact with it. And here is the video. Yes. Here it is. Okay, so in the video, you see the flag waving. But the thing about this, is that there's a number of explanations for why it could have happened. An example would be when the astronauts planted the flag into the ground that they planted it into could have been roughed loose from all the other ground. And when the astronaut walked by, he could have stepped on this piece of ground, causing the flagpole to vibrate, which would have caused the flag to wave. So conspiracy theories range from stories of aliens to explanations of the emergence of HIV or AIDS. And this wide variation shows that people don't want to think the same as mainstream society. It also shows that humans are full of rebelliousness and creative ways of thinking. I personally do not believe in all conspiracy theories, but I like them a lot because they give a different perspective to the things we accept without question. Another example would be, some people believe J.K. Rowling did not write the Harry Potter series. I know this is a little far-fetched, but it's true. Some people do not believe she wrote it. They believe that a group of writers hired by a publishing agency wrote the books and they ended up with a lot of money. I do believe that J.K. Rowling wrote the series, but having other views on the certainties we have in our lives is good, because if you only look at life through your eyes, you're not going to see everything. Thank you.
Aloha. Tonight I've come to you to talk about hula. When people hear the word hula, they automatically think women dancing in coconut bras and grass skirts, but it's not. It's more. Hula is a traditional Hawaiian dance created by the ancient Polynesians hundreds of years ago. Here we have some different examples of the two different types of hula. This is hula awana, which is the modern hula, and this is hula kahiko, which is the ancient hula. In hula we have many different implements. Here we have a pahu drum, we have pu'ili, we have uli, we have kala'au, ipu, ili, and of course an ukulele. The pahu drum is for the ancient, so is the ipu, and the others are all for both. I am inspired by many things. In my hula career, I have been able to work with people with disabilities, retired people, and children. Also, I'm mostly inspired by my family. This is my sister who competed in children's hula, and she got 4th runner-up. My brother is in the middle, and he got 1st place in the World Championships for Ancient Hula. And this is my mom, and she participated in the World Championships twice and got 2nd place each time. I like to end my presentation with a famous dance called Ka'uluwehi Oke Kai, and it talks about the over 100 types of seaweed found in Hawaii.
o ne hino la Havelai tala hai Te he he ya hai Mai mana o he mono te he ai Eri poa Eri poa e mai se o ne hino la Havelai tala hai Te he he ya hai Mai mana o he mono te he ai Ho ko ko O so hu te hu e thari muto Te tau iluna o na motu lai O ia motu la la e ho O ni ana i o hoia ane hei Ho tohu O tohu te hu e thari muto Te tau iluna o na motu lai O ia motu la la e ho O ni ana i o hoia ane hei Aina Aina mai sapua nei Tari hipo a me tali muto Uhoa bili o e me tapahe Anu ni me tari baharu Aina hau mai Aina mai sapua nei Tari hipo a me tali muto Uhoa bili o e me kapahe Anu ni me tari baharu
Guys. Okay, so I'm going to talk about creative self-expression and why it's important in my life. William Shakespeare once said, "If music be the food of love, play on." Creativity is vital to happiness, and vice versa, happiness is vital to creativity. So how many of you think that you do something creative every day that makes you happy? That's good, because as I said, happiness is also vital to creativity. Otherwise, it's not really expressing who you are. Creativity is all about showing who you are inside, not who others want you to be or who you're trying to be. So what is creative self-expression? It can be anything from writing, to singing, to dancing, acting, drawing, photography, to playing an instrument, to so much more. But the catch, it has to make you happy. So now that we know what it is, what are some benefits of creative self-expression? If you're writing, dancing, singing, doing what you love, you get a sense of timelessness, and it's great. Like nothing else in the world matters, only what you're doing. It's awesome when that happens. It can turn something negative into something positive. Like 3 years ago, when my dog died 3 days before we were supposed to leave on our vacation from France. Even though we still had 3 days left, the vacation was clearly over. And then I wrote a piece called "The Vacation is Over." Not only did I feel a lot better about it, but I ended up winning $200 in the Henderson Writing Contest, and my family was really proud of me. Not only does creativity accept messiness and mistakes, it invites it with open arms. Think about that improv scene. What makes it really good, really realistic, really like life? All the messiness, the mistakes, the goofs. That is what makes creativity amazing. Okay, imagine drinking 20 Red Bulls, 50 Monster Energy drinks, and then 60 coffees. I mean, you'd probably die from a heart attack, but creativity is a lot like that without the whole death part. Creativity brings people closer together. These are some of the people that I've met in the past 2 plays that I've done. And these aren't even all of them. I'm still in touch with all of these people, and we still hang out. These are the people that I love. They're the people that are just like me. I love these people. Even if you're doing something like drawing or writing, that's sort of a secluded form of creativity. If you join a writing club or an art class, you're brought closer together with those people because they are doing something that they love, and so are you. If you have something that you can't talk about, those hard conversations that you just don't want to say, if you write a letter, if you make a dance, if you sing a song, it's a lot easier to get out. So, I do something in my life that's creative every single day, and I love it. I hope that you do. And if you don't, then I hope that you will, because the possibilities are endless. Thank you.
Okay, hello. There is a universe in the tip of your finger. Not to say, though, that the universe is centered all around you, because there is a universe on the outside of your finger, too. Back in the Middle Ages, they threw Galileo in jail because he proved that the Earth was not the center of the universe. And actually, Galileo proving that the Earth is not the center of the universe is like growing up and suddenly realizing that the world doesn't center around you and cater to your every need. I know. Like, realizing that was a huge shock to me, too. And going back to that universe in the tip of your finger. In their own way, everyone and everything is a small universe in itself. One example of a small universe close to home is you. Do you know how many interconnected events happen in your body every millisecond to keep you alive? 6 septillion. That is 27 zeros. And those wonderful golden aspen trees we Coloradans love to photograph in the fall, those are yet another small universe. And aspens are a great example of the phrase, what you see is not always what you get. Because you see, people may think that a grove of aspens contains many different trees, when in truth, the aspens only look separate, but they are all one organism. The trees are all connected by their roots. Actually, one of the largest single organisms on Earth is an aspen grove that happens to be in our very own Crested Butte, Colorado. Okay, so I have always been interested in flight, especially space flight, because that's flying as far as you can possibly go into the final frontier. There is no end to exploration out there. I like to imagine exploring strange new worlds, new life forms, new civilizations, and boldly going where no one has gone before. A few months ago, in August 2013, I went camping with my parents in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We were camping in a small campground 10 minutes away from downtown. And one of the main highlights of that trip for me, besides the wonderful art, of course, was the stars. The view into space from our campsite blew my mind. You could see everything in the Milky Way. Seeing that many stars, and quite a few planets as well, really made me feel, well, small. The universe is really, really big. But that outer universe is as big as the inner universe is small. Like Chief Seattle once said, humankind has not woven the web of life. We are but one thread in it. Whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves. All things are bound together. All things connect. We are the connections. So, just like the aspen trees. So let's say you have a fight with your friend, and hurtful words and stress and tension from that fight stick in your mind because they just make an impression. And then let's say you go home and maybe you just have a fight with like your spouse or your son or daughter or your parents, whatever situation you're in. And that tension that your mind has had from your fight with your friend, that's stuck in your mind, and now it's also bunching up behind the fight with one of your family members. And then let's say, like, you go to work, and the tension in your mind has backed up from the fight with your friend, the fight with one of your family members, and then let's say you get mad at your boss. And that's normally not a good thing. But all that stress is backed up. And so you and your friend have exchanged hurtful words, and then that small little yelling contest has affected more people than just you and your friend. It's affected your family and then your work. So there are other ways of describing this web of life as well. In India, there's an ancient understanding that we are all connected and part of one whole. This understanding is called Indra's net. Indra's net is considered the energy that connects everything on the outer universe, much like our neurons connect everything in our body, the inner universe. Because there is a universe in the tip of your finger, and a universe on the outside of your finger, too. Thank you.
Great job.